Here are the 5 rules for financial freedom that I've observed successful people implement over my 27-year history as an accountant. But remember, I release content all the time, but you need to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to stay up on this stuff and be that cool person at parties. But back to the 5 rules of financial freedom. I didn't get this list from a guru or like an expert. It's just the things that I've seen and I try to practice myself over the years. I'm sure there's lots more rules and likely some people might argue with some of the items on my list, but these are the biggest ones I see. So take it or leave it, but it's a good start. And if you're long past being a younger person, there's no time like today to get some of these habits in place. Now, the only qualification I'm going to make here is for some of these items, these habits might look a little different for a small business owner within a corporate setting. And if that's you, it might be easier if you just book a call with me to discuss some slight adjustments to these rules. Rule 1, invest 10% of your gross personal income every month. Many of you've read Dave Chilton's famous The Wealthy Barber, and this habit comes directly from this book. But I want to highlight the psychological as well as the practical reasons why this is such a powerful rule. First off, as Chilton quite rightly describes in his book as paying yourself first, it explains sort of the psychological effects of getting that money out of your sight as quickly as possible so that you don't even miss it. And as we start to do this, we'll find that very, very quickly, it won't even feel painful anymore because we will have adjusted our spending accordingly to fit within the remaining 90%. I can only tell you from personal experience, this is so true. Within a few paychecks, you don't even think about it anymore. The practical side of this is that getting the money invested every month in income-producing investments. My suggestion is to take some time to find an investment advisor that you trust and you feel is very competent. Talk to a few folks here. Trust is going to be important for what I'm about to say. Every month, your advisor will take 10% and purchase investments according to a plan that you and they will agree on according to your retirement objectives and your risk thresholds and so on. Doing this monthly ensures that a concept known as dollar averaging occurs. And all this means is that while investments might go up and down throughout time, investing frequently will ensure that you get the best average price over a period of time. It takes the timing risk out of things. Here's where the trust comes in. You've got to think about your investments in the long term, if your age allows for this, of course. You're playing the long game, not just trying to make a quick buck. You're trying to meet a retirement goal. Now, don't be one of those people that looks at the stock page every month and then either freaks out or celebrates every time the stock goes up or down, respectively. The stock market is emotional. No matter what a Finance 101 course might tell people about the market being perfect, in the short run, the ups and downs are highly correlated to the expectations of shareholders are generally reacting emotionally on information that's either not perfect or it's speculative or the info has little to do with how a company is actually being run. If your current advisor is investing in good quality companies with solid management teams, a good track record, and a whole bunch of other quantitative and qualitative qualities, that is all that matters. And in the long run, that value will be reflected appropriately in the market. So in other words, get it invested and forget about it until your next scheduled review with your advisor. And remember, avoid the get-rich-quick temptations like, for example, right now, Bitcoin and NFTs. Look, I'm not saying these are junk, but I'm saying that there's a real novelty in the crazy new opportunities to create sensational stories of people getting rich overnight. There's almost 8 billion people in the world, and the ones that are playing the slow and steady game will almost always enjoy financial freedom in their later years, even when there's occasional market meltdowns. You know, think of the tortoise and the hare here. Rule number 2, buy life insurance. The younger you are, the better. Now, insurance agents will also talk to you about different types of insurance, like permanent or whole life insurances and term insurances. And rather than me getting into all the differences here, I'll direct you to another video I did unpacking the stuff, which should be right up there or could be down there. I can't remember. But I'll also put it in the description notes as well. But here's my main point. Insurance is more than just something you buy in the event that your loved ones are protected if you die prematurely or if your spouse stages an accident to get rid of you. It could happen. But I'm talking about policies that have a cash component to them that you can get some really cool tax-free access to money as time goes on. And you're protected in the meantime. It's kind of like accomplishing a couple goals at once. But the younger and more healthy you are, the better. Insurance doesn't get any cheaper with age, and in fact, it gets extremely expensive, especially if you've had some health scares. Book a call with me. In the description notes, I have a link, and I will chat with you about getting hooked up with some really cool friends of mine. Now, on the subject of insurance, here's some cool things you can do that you might not have heard about very often. If you have younger parents, ask them if they would mind if you took out a policy on them, as long as they don't have to pay any premiums. This is a cool way to get some tax-free money into your pockets when mom and dad head off to the pearly gates. It might seem morbid, but I think your parents might dig how savvy you become in your finances. But I would only bring this up if you have a really good relationship with your parents and it's open and communicative. You can also insure your kids, but not for the same reason I would insure your parents. I don't even want to think about that. But a permanent insurance policy is transferable when the kid's 18 and they become adults. I mean, what better gift can you give a child than a life insurance policy with some value that will not increase their premiums no matter what bumps along the road they may have health-wise? They'll think you're the best parents ever, and then they'll ask for a Kinder Surprise. Rule number 3, max out all the tax shelters your government provides. In Canada, we have like a tax-free savings account, registered retirement savings plans, we have registered educational savings plans, we have the first-time homebuyer RRSP loan, and I'm sure there's lots of versions of this in many of the countries you might be watching this from, but just take advantage of these shelters. These are awesome ways to use the government as a means for leveraging the size of your retirement nest egg or other big milestones in yours and your children's lives, like the first-time home ownership or post-secondary education. And again, I can provide more insight, at least to my Canadian viewers, into how these shelters work. Just need to book a call with me. I'd love to chat. Rule number 4, for God's sake, live within your means. It's a simple statement and sometimes a harder thing to do given the ease of credit out there, but I can assure you from my 48 years on this planet and from making lots of stupid mistakes, buying things that you really can't afford will not bring you happiness in the long term. Actually, the opposite. As Tyler Durden from the movie Fight Club said, the things you own end up owning you. So pay off your credit card every month. The only reason why you should have a credit card is for the loyalty points, and that's it. If you're continuing to carry a balance, get out of it. Any way you can. If you have to forego the movies and dinner for the next year, or sell your ATV, just whatever it takes. Credit card debt is a cancerous poison. I know I might sound a little melodramatic here, but you're watching this because you're interested in the habits of people that reach financial freedom sometime in their lives. And not just when they're dead, but while they're young enough to enjoy the freedom. And let me tell you, these people are not carrying credit card debt. Live in a house or apartment that you can afford. Home is where you lay your hat. And you will definitely enjoy a home that you can afford better than one that you can't. Your home is a family member, and we love our family members for what they are because they're ours. Search your soul before you sign that lease on an apartment or you offer on that house as to whether you can make the rent or mortgage and still have plenty of money left over to have a good life in that home. And the same goes for your car. Do you really need a Benz or an Audi or BMW? I mean, no judgment if you can afford it. They are great cars. But if you can't afford it, you might be tempted to lease it. But here's the thing about leases, and my sincere apologies to my friends at the car dealerships. Leases are meant for folks that can't afford the vehicle. A lease benefits the leasing company and the car dealers, not you. The internal interest rate, which is not advertised to you, will always benefit the leasing company. You should think of a lease as a loan, amortized over a much longer period of time, which means you are economically worse off. Listen, the novelty of a new car lasts as long as it takes for your kids to run into it with their bikes and leave a dent. It just doesn't last. Buy a car, get a loan, and drive it into the ground. Some of this is tough to hear, I know, but you wanted to know what the free people were doing. Rule 5. Now, this rule might sound all fluffy and kumbaya, but I'm dead serious. And in fact, this is the most important rule that, if followed, all the other rules will likely fall in line. Invest in you. Eat well. I mean, eat what your body needs and what agrees with your body. Exercise. You'll feel better. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just walk 30 minutes a day to start. Get a dog. Go to the gym. You'll meet people that will become lifelong friends. Believe me, there's no better place in a community than a gym to find accepting, non-judgmental people. And I know there can be a stigma here, but my sibs used to call me Fat John, with love, but it's because I never met a hamburger that lasted 2 minutes alone with me. But I finally decided to get in shape in my early 30s, and life has been so much better. Active, eating better, things just fell into place. Read, meditate, practice awareness, choose experience over things, hike, travel, skydive. Okay, I'll never skydive, but hike, get involved. Getting involved in your community or your church or your school, whatever. It fulfills one of the most cherished needs of human beings, community. It just feels good. Live in the now. Forget about all the crap from the past that's getting you down. It's done. It doesn't have to define you, and it's not even real anymore. It's no more real than the road ahead. All we have is now. So be present. Focus on the challenges you have to when they're happening. But when things are relatively peaceful, stop thinking so much. Go for that walk and listen to the birds and go hang out with your cat. Breathe the fresh air and remember you are a very special part of this wondrous universe. Now that's it. These 5 rules are the keys to not only financial freedom, but even bigger than that, freedom itself. And on freedom, I would like to send my heart, thoughts, and prayers, and my love to the brave people of Ukraine. Your fighting spirit and downright defiance to tyranny is truly an inspiration to the rest of the world. May you feel peace and freedom again, and sooner than later. Godspeed.